Welcome back. Got another video. I realized in the last one, I got a little ahead of myself and started immediately talking about the info you need to grow your product, start your grow up, and you have to be allowed to do that first. So I realized I need to take a step back, look at how to get your licensing for your cannabis business, what kind of cannabis business you want to run in the first place, and then what kind of fees you're looking at to do all of that, which is kind of a lot, to be honest, but it's okay. We're in it for the long run. That's our investment. We'll get it back. Give me just a sec to pull up my resources. So this was one of the bigger ones that I found. It was really helpful from uh, a lawyer here in Colorado named Ryan Newburn, and he wrote this article recently, just in the summer of last year, 2021. And in this, he kind of talks about the different kind of cannabis businesses that you can have. And he even goes into all the costs of the separate licenses that you'll need regarding or depending on what kind of business you want to run. So my end goal is a dispensary. I would love to have a brand around my dispensary where I can retail my own products. Hopefully expand that into Kansas if/when legalization ever happens there. But for now, I'm just going to stick to cultivation, which is just the growing of your own product and vending it to other retailers. So all of my fees are going to be kind of in this area for now, but I'm going to keep these in mind, as well as product manufacturing, which is just turning cannabis into other products like oils, extracts, edibles, you name it. And so I do want to do that as well. I kind of just want to have my own, essentially create my own supply chain to kind of supply my dispensary so I don't have to, go to outside suppliers for my product. Everything's made in-house. And then there's a transporter, which is pretty self-explanatory. You're only allowed to move product from point A to point B. And then Newburn kind of goes into, picking your name, how to extract if you want to do that, how to open a dispensary. But the important part is here. It's not our favorite part, but it's the part we have to look at next, which is the costs. So you have your basic entity fee, your app fee, and then this is the kicker that we'll get into later, which fortunately for us, I found out Newburn kind of did the work for us in these numbers. But just to look at it, the licenses that you can get, they're split between medical and retail. And so I would want to keep my business within the retail industry just because I think that's a bigger market. It's not, I feel like medical is just a smaller amount of potential prospects. And so I'm going to keep mine within the retail space, but to each their own. All the information is here for you and your own journey. This is just mine. So looking at my cultivation license, that's going to cost you $6,500 for a tier 1. And so I was like, oh, okay, tier 1, that's got to be 1,800 plants. That's got to be the biggest license you can get. Maybe I'll get like a tier 2 or 3, and I only need like a half that. But I did some digging, and tier 1 is actually as small as it gets. And so unfortunately, can't go any smaller than that, and we can't go any cheaper than that. So there's 6,500 right off the bat just to be allowed to grow. Side note, I guess every adult over the age of 21 in Colorado is allowed to grow their own personal plants, up to 6. Only 3 of those can be in the flowering stage, but you're not allowed to sell any of that product to other retailers or anything. That's all personal use, which, don't get me wrong, I'm completely okay with that, and I think that's what I'll do to start, just to perfect my process at least, and make sure everything is up to par with the way I want it to be. And then I'll eventually get my license when I know, I'm done making mistakes, I'm over the bumps, I have everything perfected as far as my process goes. And so that way I can start vending to other retailers, start building my brand, making a name. And that information about the the amount of plants for individual adults. I don't think was in here, but I will link it in the description of this at the end. And then, looking forward, when I get into product manufacturing, another 6,500, and then end goal, the retail store is another 7K. So altogether 20K in license fees, for the end of the journey, at least that's what we're going to be looking at. But 6,500 for now is doable. That's easily manageable. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that for now. I think I'm going to cover that in a later video. Just talking about funding, how to get your business up and off the ground as quickly and budget friendly as possible. But to end this off, to go back to the MED and these license app fees. So these have to be paid on an annual basis. You need these licenses on an annual basis. And so I dug into what the MED is and why you have to do this. So the MED is the Marijuana Enforcement Division of Colorado, and they actually have a fee schedule for their licenses. So you have initial costs, initial application fees, which New Baron actually combined all of the app fees and license fees and the numbers on his site. So that's where a lot of like the 6,500 here was coming from, 6,800, rough estimate, another 6,500 on the retail store, the 7,000 on the products manufacturing here. And so I believe these license fees have to be paid on an annual basis. If you come down here for the renewal fees, they do, that is correct. But the app fee does go down significantly when you're renewing. So luckily, I guess you do save some money there, but those license fees come out on a yearly basis. So for me personally, for example, that cultivation facility on the tier 1 is going to be $1,830 every year, but it's no longer a 5K app fee. It's only $300 every year. So more like $2,100 for that fee every year instead of $6,500. $2,100 actually for all of them. Nice. That's perfect. So upfront, it's going to be a heavy investment, but for what I want, for my goals, it's worth it to me. And I'm glad I have the info here. I will link all this in the description again. I hope it helps you in your own personal journey. Let's get out there. Let's get this bread. I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a process, but yeah, we got it. We're in it for the long run. I appreciate you viewing again. Make sure you do all this YouTube stuff, like, subscribe. Yeah, and enjoy. Good luck. Goodbye.